Hey, this is Simeon from PraiseTracks.com, and I've really been enjoying my journey through the Vienna Symphonic Library. And up to this point, we've been looking at the Big Bang Orchestra series, which has been really amazing. But today, we're going to take a look at the Vienna Symphonic Library's Smart Orchestra. And what the Smart Orchestra does, it uses the Synchron Player and it puts at the entire 140-piece orchestra into the Synchron Player and allows you to have instant access to all of those sounds, where you can use it to sketch out really fast ideas, and you can use it for live performance and that type of thing. So we're going to take a look at that today. You can go into the file browser and you see the Smart Orchestra here. You have different effects presets, and we're just going to load up just the basic Smart Orchestra right now just to take a look. So the Synchron Player is laid out in such a way called dimensions, and you go from left to right. You start with instruments, then type, and then articulation, and then sections. Look at the mixer section. You have control over the mix of the sections. So they've given you such control and performance. You can map all of these controls to, if you've got like a MIDI controller like I've got here, you can map and assign different things to those. I've got my expression pedal going. But let's just jump right in and take a listen at some of these beautiful orchestra sounds. This is the shorts, staccato, and you see over here the sections. You've got strings, woodwinds, brass, and percussion. This icon is selected blue. So when that is selected, that means we're playing that entire stack. And the same goes for all of these, that you can actually enable that and crossfade with the MIDI control. Or we can just go through them one at a time, like strings. And then woodwinds. Oh. And see, they have it mapped all across the keyboard. And then we have the brass. And then percussion is mapped up at the top of the keyboard here. And so when we have them stacked, we can kind of crossfade in between. And it just brings out different emphasis. So let's just keep going. So having everything right under your fingers really makes it easy to capture some really cool ideas. So let's go to the next, the longs, the type, and the normal. And we're still kind of stacked here. And let's just take a listen. You just hear how absolutely powerful and big that is. So, yeah. Okay, so you can go to the marcato, and you have the normal, and you can switch that. So what it allows you to do is to lay foundations and capture ideas very quickly. And you can, put another instance in your DAW to go ahead and maybe do some solo instruments. So you have solo instruments here, violins. Yeah, let's see. And flute. And you hear that legato going in there. And the legato just makes it so beautiful. Oboe. Clarinet. Trumpet. And again, you have that dynamic control where you can make it kind of soft. And that dynamic control just lets you open that right up. And French horn solo, these are all just like solo instruments that you can lay on top. So that dynamic control lets you just really pull a lot of really cool things out. So you have the orchestra sections here, like again, the orchestra is layered with some of the mallets and percussion. This is the fortissimo. Yeah, that gets really big. And you can just adjust that dynamic again. I just love being able to do that. Not only with the expression pedal, but that velocity dynamic that you can control with the mod wheel there is just really fantastic. So this is the fortissimo marcato here. Just very grand. Then you have some of the softer pianissimo. And to have the orchestra stacked like that in the sections, it just propels you into just having just different ideas come. And tremolo. You can hear those strings underneath. Now let's just hear the strings by themselves. And you can disable the layers here. And you can go ahead and put them back in with everything else. And then you have the tremolo with the marcato on there. And that just gives you that really dramatic push there. Other than just the orchestra, you can go into the individual sections: strings, woodwind, brass, mallets, and solo full range, which we did. So the strings give you the same setup. You have shorts and pads with solo. So we haven't looked at that. So in the left hand, we've got the tremolo. Let's go ahead and do the pad and solo here. And let's choose the oboe. Yeah, isn't that cool? And then you can select different solo instruments here. Yeah, that's a lot of fun. Okay, so you have the solos, and then you just have, let's see, just the longs, and then we'll just say normal. And you can hear that dynamic layer when we have it down. The bowing is not, and that's the marcato. Let's just do the normal. We'll bring up that dynamic. And you hear those lower strings kick in right there. And you got the percussion mapped up here, so so that's where we've got that. Okay. Okay, so woodwinds. You've just got the full woodwind section. And brass. And you've got the same articulations, the normal marcatos, the fortissimo. The whole brass section there. It's just amazing. They can pack all of this into just a very reasonably small package as far as memory, like memory storage requirements. So it's really, really a great way if you don't have any of the Vienna Symphonic Library instruments. This is a great way to get started. They also have expansion packs. So I'm going to load the expansion pack here. And you see how it just populates it with even more instruments. You have more solo instruments, and you'll know that they're in the expansion because they have XP to the right of them. So we have violas added in the expansion. So we've got this split where it's the pad down here at the bottom with the woodwinds and the viola at the top. And I've got the velocity expression, so I'm going to put that. And we can choose brass for the pad, and let's check that out. It's just rich, very rich and full. Okay, so when we go to the brass category, you have the different staccatos and longs and percussions. Yeah, that's really cool. Okay. Yeah, so here we go. With the expansion pack, you've got a piccolo, and English horn, that's really nice. Bass clarinet, just so much in here, so much in here. We've got some really cool effects in the basic smart orchestra, and this is called shimmering promise. And so it just kind of pulls these orchestral instruments and it processes them in different ways. So let's take a listen to that. And you can just hear so much going on there. So that gives you another dimension that you can take this in. So you can have like a really cool pad like that, and then just layer it with some strings, and never have to really leave Smart Orchestra. You just would need to put another instance in another track and just kind of work that way. And this is called Brooding Force. Yeah. So all of these gives you some really cool non-orchestral sounds. So this is the pluck. So you hear just a really cool space here. Speaking of space, I'm just amazed at how they were able to take the Smart Orchestra sounds from the original libraries and put them in that Synchron stage using that convolution reverb. It just is amazing because it just places those instruments virtually right on that huge Synchron stage. Yeah, so let's go back to like one of the nice long orchestral. Yeah, and this is really where I stay a lot. Just the full orchestra, just to kind of lay some ideas down. They just give you so much expression. When they sampled these instruments, there was just so much expression that went into them. The musicians that recorded and performed these originally just put so much into these instruments, and that's why when you're playing them, you can just hear it coming out. And here we go with this dynamic again. Okay, so there's a couple more things that you can do with this Smart Orchestra. They have a couple of more expansion packs. So the Smart Orchestra XP, the first expansion pack, gives you more solo instruments and that type of thing. But then they have what's called Smart Spheres. Now, Smart Spheres just are kind of like a build off of the effects patches. Okay, so this is the Smart Sphere, and we've loaded up like the first one, the original Smart Spheres, and let's just take a listen real quick. Okay, this is the pad, Heaven pad. And you get those rich textures because of the way that they've just sampled the original material, the orchestral material, and then they've processed it. It's like an organ. Okay, this is a stormy pad. Ooh. That's pretty wild. So this is like a lead, crystal lead. That's pretty cool. Okay, so this is a tremolo pad. So you hear orchestral elements in there, but you hear synth and processing in there. So it's kind of blurs the line between orchestral and synthesizers. Now we have the spaced out Smart Spheres, and again, just more processing. Yeah, that's the multis. So down here we've got some pads. Wow. So they're plucked and have different mallets and different things. Just different ways you can just do some sound design and that kind of thing. Just kind of wild. Okay, Invasion. Now these are just really, really crazy. Yeah, for scoring and that type of thing, sometimes you need some crazy things. Dark Bee Swarm. Now these are just kind of pads. And it seems like the longer you hold on to it, it just kind of continues to develop. Yeah, so the Smart Spheres have got some really crazy. Last but not least, we're just going to hit on this real quick. You have Smart Hits. Now, Smart Hits take you into some really, really crazy areas that give you just some really cool. Yeah. And these are just kind of all single hits mapped out across the keyboard. Yeah. Yeah, so those are mapped out, and then you've got organic hits. Yeah, and then the Braams, and then you have just different ways you can play those. And let's see. Yeah, iTunes, yeah. Yeah, that's really crazy. You've got organic Braams. Yeah, so each one of these are mapped out, and then you can change the key from these key switches here. Yeah, so a different Braam is mapped across this keyboard, and then you can key switch down here. Yeah, that's crazy. And you've got some risers. Okay. Let's see, here we go. You've got short, medium, and long versions of those organic risers. That's wild. So let's just do a long one. Yeah. So it gets really crazy. Then you have a tonal mapping of the same types of things. It just gives you different ways to access them. Wow, my goodness. That's just like crazy. And you've got sub booms and all of these things. All of these things are just ways that you can build just fantastic. I mean, it just takes the it takes those ideas that you hear in your head and give you the ability to kind of actually hear them and play them out. That's just amazing. So let's just go back to the Smart Orchestra. I just love just being able to have the ability to come and just sit down, start playing, and you never know what's going to come out. That's wild. That's big. That's big. I'm going to have all the links in the description about Smart Orchestra. And, while you're here, go ahead and check out the links and the other videos I have on the Big Bang Orchestra series. And subscribe, because there's so much to come. So much to come. We've just barely scratched the surface with the Vienna Symphonic Library, and I'm excited to continue the journey together with you. So this is Simeon for PraiseTracks.com, and we'll see you next time.